guys. Welcome to the NB Fam channel. This is a little higher definition video. I figured out how to use the 4K settings on the GoPro Hero 8 Black, and I thought, what the hell, let's do a little sunset ride along on the ZRX1100. It's this camera, so you can do 1080p in 60 frames per second or 4K in 30. So let me know what you think. If it's too juddery or if there's too much aliasing, then we'll go back to the 1080. But I found on the last one you couldn't really read the speedometer or the or the tach as well, maybe. And I thought we'd just kind of play around and see how it looks. So yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago now, I did a review of the bike, and overall, I mean, it's pretty fantastic, sort of multi-purpose machine. I would buy this if you're looking for a standard UJM type motorcycle, no question. I mean, I love the CB1100 or whatever it's called, the sort of new retro styled Honda, but this is a lot of bike for the money, and realistically, unless you're using it every day and putting 50,000 kilometers a year on it, you know, these things are built to last. I could maybe see if you wanted to get anti-lock brakes instead of what's on here. That would make sense. Other than that, technology between the two bikes, it really hasn't changed a whole lot. It's not like you're getting Apple CarPlay or whatever on a standard bike, on a Triumph Bonneville or whatever. So yeah, in that sense, this bike is a great deal. And I still see them. I've seen a few of them up for sale on Auto Trader, sort of cross country. But they come up on Kijiji. I mean, that's the Canadian version of Craigslist, fairly commonly. It had rained all day here today, and then it cleared up just before supper. And Chrissy and I had some sushi for dinner, and I said, you know, I think I might get out for a little ride. This bridge, by the way, used to be a covered bridge. New Brunswick is sort of famous for its covered bridges, but a dude in an excavator tried to cross it, and the excavator went right through the planks of the bridge. It was and it was stuck there for like I think it was the whole summer and then into the fall. And then finally they got the excavator out and then demolished the bridge and put up the new one. I will say though, from a motorcycle riding perspective, that bridge, the covered bridges, because they're wooden, if you ride, you got to be super careful crossing a wooden bridge because your wheels just slip and slide all the hell over the place. I can't explain why, but it's definitely a disconcerting feeling, I guess. New Brunswick, of course, has the world's largest covered bridge. I think it's in Heartland. I'm pretty sure it's in Heartland. And if I'm saying it wrong and it's Hartford, I apologize to my friends in that area. The road conditions are terrible. I did want to open up the bike a little bit, and the other day I was talking, when I reviewed the bike, the first thing we talked about was speed and sort of more discussion of acceleration and sportiness of the bike. But I said, you know, it's not particularly overwhelming. It's easy to ride. It's sort of at a standard commuter pace, and that is true. I stand by that. But I don't have a very aggressive sort of right wrist, if you know what I mean. I don't tend to crank the throttle. And today, I just decided, just give it a try, just to see how it feels in a few spots. You can tell it's almost impossible to do that on roads like this. They're so bad, and there's so many big potholes. It's just like a death trap waiting to happen if you drive too fast. But nonetheless, it is very pretty, and the views of the Hammond River are beautiful. But I did get a chance to open it up in a few spots, and if I can remember where, I will try to put the sound back on, just so you can hear it. Anyway, it accelerates like a bat out of hell. I was wrong. It is fast enough to kind of scare you a little bit. It's not. Once you know what's going to happen, once you explore it once or twice, it's not unpredictable. it's got a lot of power, sort of at the 7,000 to 8,000 RPM range, and 9 maybe. It surprised me a little bit because it feels so docile when you're just sort of putting around on it. Anyway, it's a great bike, man. It's very addictive, that kind of power. Fly fishing season has started, and I saw a lot of people fly fishing on the river. I don't know if you'll get a chance to actually see them. I'm dying to go, but it just hasn't been a real good day, and I wanted to get out for an extra ride and play around with the camera a bit today, obviously, so I can't really blame the circumstances. I just wanted to screw around with another one of my pastimes instead. Yeah, these bumps are brutal. Jeez Louise. I think tomorrow I might go up to Shediac and get on the dirt bike again. We'll just see. We'll see what the day brings. The weather's been kind of hit or miss, and then I'm back to work permanently after that, I think. We might have one more week off going into the summer. We've been on a pod system because of the COVID-19 outbreak, obviously. And the way they do that is they separate your team into 2 teams so that if one team gets sick, then you still have service delivery. But it's meant that we've had really unusual schedule where you're on and you're like super busy sometimes, and sometimes you're off for days on end. I'll be glad to get back into the swing of the normalcy. I'm hoping that happens. New Brunswick's been amazing. The provincial, I'm not a big fan of any government, but the provincial government, I'm not an anarchist, don't get me wrong. I just always have, I think people need to have their feet kept to the fire, if you know what I mean. But the New Brunswick government has been really good, I gotta say, in their pandemic response. I don't know if part of it's maybe that we got lucky, but they also listened to the infectious disease specialists and didn't maybe put as much weight into what the federal government was saying, thankfully, as some people did. And it seems to have really prevented it from turning, at least the first wave, from turning into an overwhelming crisis. We, keep praying. We hope that we don't see it come back and have a devastating effect. I'll feel bad for saying we've done a good job if that happens. It's always the setup. It's always that overconfidence that gets you. But no, they have done a pretty good job. This is the Hammond River on our right. This is my favorite fishing spot that we're about to drive past, right across the street from that church. And Jesus, is it ever pretty. I think the trout are there, but I didn't see anybody catching them yet. I was going to tell you about my book. So I wrote a book. It might be a little bit politically incorrect, I guess. I am a bit of a Neanderthal. But I wrote it for my dad when he had cancer. It's called Grantrepreneurs. I just wrote it to be funny. It's a funny book. It's kind of a sweet story about friendship, and if you're easily offended, it's going to be offensive to you. If you're not easily offended, look it up on Amazon. And so I just self-published it. I had no expectations. I figured it would sell 3 or 4 copies, but I put it out on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. And so it's number 14 in the humor category, Grantrepreneurs. I'm pretty stoked about it, actually. It won't, it's not going to stay there forever. It's probably like a little flash in the pan because my friends are buying it. But nonetheless, thanks for buying it. And if you're sort of checking out the channel for the first time, thanks for checking out the channel. And have a look. It would be much appreciated. This ride was where I always went the first of the season. It was always like my standard motorcycle ride. But the roads are so terrible. I don't mind coming up here and driving slow. I like driving slow. I'm here for the scenery. I've said that before. I'm not a fast rider, but I do worry when the roads are this bad. See, I'd love to go right here and just continue to explore, but you need a whole day, really. to bum around this part of New Brunswick. It's so beautiful. But the roads are so bad. You just gotta be so careful. I'm gonna let you hear the bike here for a second. Anyway, so as you can see, the front wheel comes off the ground kind of easily when you're a little more aggressive on the throttle. It's a fun bike to ride. I gotta say, it's pretty addictive. It's pretty addictive. Yeah, so we talked about the book. My brother and I do a podcast as well. Again, it's so politically incorrect that I don't really want to tell you what it is, but maybe someday we'll talk about it. I did have a weird, because this is kind of a family channel, I've had, it was kind of cool, a kid on YouTube reached out and wants to go biking with Jack and Ethan, like mountain biking, and that's cool. That's kind of the, oh yeah, God, these roads, jeez. But that's kind of cool. It was a kid from the same area, and just, you know, I feel bad for kids in the middle of all this. Like, people like me, you know, when it comes to other people, I can take it or leave it, to be honest. I'm just going to make a little cut here because I had to pull over and pull up my pants. This is the very bumpy road coming down from Hammond River into Hampton, New Brunswick. And again, what a beautiful sunset this was. We got really lucky. It's tricky driving or riding. I always say driving. I guess not, you ride a motorcycle, but anyway, riding into the sunset. I've got one of those Bell helmets with the face shield that auto dims in the light, and it's helped a lot. I find otherwise, see, I like to wear polarized sunglasses for this kind of thing, but they tend to give you a lot of weird artifact when you wear polarized sunglasses behind a face shield. You get like a lot of rainbows and color alteration in your peripheral vision, that kind of thing, and it gives me a headache. So this helmet's been a godsend. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the Bell DLX or something like that. It's not super expensive. It might be $300, and it has a little cutout for your Senna, which I use religiously. I'm always listening to either podcasts or audiobooks. Rarely music when I'm on the motorcycle. I find I just like the sound of the engine. but bike ride's a great time to catch up on your reading, via audiobook, obviously. I'm really happy with the way the footage came out. The Hero 8 in 4K, I think this is the way I like it best. The colors are pretty close to accurate. Maybe they're a little bit saturated. I'm not going to mess with them. Again, I am not a videographer by any means. But yeah, this is really pretty. And that's pretty close to what it looked like. I think I had more glare in my face shield. That's the only difference. I grew up in this area. I grew up in St. John, New Brunswick area. And my dad, when I was a kid, worked at the phone company, and my mom was a teacher. And then Dad took a job with Irving Oil, and he was there. So he was at the phone company for 13 years, and then Irving Oil for 13 years. And then when I went to college, he changed jobs again. He ended up working with a company called Exogen out of San Francisco. So I was kind of lucky. He still stayed based in St. John. I'm going to let you listen to the bike again here for a second. Yeah, so Dad stayed in St. John, and but he flew back and forth to San Francisco, so I got to travel to San Francisco when I was in my science degree. It was quite cool. It was one of my favorite memories, going there with Mom and Dad, and like it was so, you know, you grow up in a place like this and you can see there's a lot of farmland, and You know, there's a few small cities, but you're not very metropolitan. And then to go into San Francisco and like spend time in your first Chinatown and all that stuff, it was so cool. It was so different and so foreign to me, and it was such an eye-opening experience, but also so fun. And to do it with Dad, I was so impressed by him because he could fit in anywhere. Like, he fit in perfectly in New Brunswick, get along with everyone here, and then to go to San Francisco, get along with everyone there, and nobody would guess he was from a small town, kind of thing. It was cool. This is the old highway that goes between St. John and Hampton. And the Kennebecasis River is now on our right, and you can see the sun setting over the river. It's just a beautiful little part of the world. They used to call New Brunswick the picture province. It was on our license plates, and I wish they would put that on there again. I think that describes it very well. Chrissy and I have lived in all kinds of different, we've been in Halifax, Nova Scotia, we've been in New Brunswick, we've been in Vancouver, we've traveled to Hawaii and stuff. What I always said was, compared to the West Coast, where your pictures, the beauty is sort of in the Bob Ross type landscapes, where you get the big mountains in the distance and that kind of thing. New Brunswick is beautiful in a way that you can just reach out and touch it. Everywhere you go is beautiful. The cities are old and pretty. They're rough parts, but they're picturesque in a way. The countryside, look at it. I mean, that is sort of heaven on earth. Anyway, I'm probably going to sign off here, and we didn't really talk about anything. There was not a lot of story time or much about the bike. I do need new indicators for it. That is one thing for sure. But I just wanted to check in and make another little ride-along video, and I hope you guys like these. I think I'll do another one on the Harley soon. I'd love to drive it to Moncton. I'd like to do like a road trip video, but I have to remember to turn the GoPro on and off. That is one thing that I have noticed, is that the batteries don't last super long on it. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you want to check out the book, Grantrepreneurs, on Amazon. The paperback is available. I'm still waiting for them to approve the Kindle ebook, but it should be happening soon, assuming there's no crazy error or something. And thanks for checking it out. We'll see you later.